Sheri Gould here with your visual vocal tip. I'm still on my sequence of answering questions that I got on my Facebook page, so I just want to remind you that if you have a question that you would like to ask, please feel free to join me on my Facebook page and ask me the question, and you'll find your question answered in my visual vocal tip. So for today, our question is from Mark, and Mark asks this. He says, how can one stop from being overcome with emotion and crying while singing praise to the Lord? Now, that's a good question, because when we think about us as singers, there's really a couple different functions that we can have. Mark is clearly talking about a situation where he is leading worship, or maybe he's singing a special music in church that has a great deal of meaning for him personally. And so as he begins to think about that song, the meaning to those words, and how it affects him, it does reach something inside him, and emotionally he begins to respond. There's a little bit of a difference between what we're doing when we're leading worship as singers versus putting on a performance. But as far as our audience or our congregation is concerned, really we have to remember this. We are here to allow them to have an experience, regardless of whether we're worshiping or whether we're presenting a song. And so there are a couple of things to bear in mind. Number one, we don't want the experience that they're going to end up having be that it's all about us and it's all about our emotions. So we have to be cautious with the display of emotions. And by that, I don't want you to be plastic. I don't want you to be robotic. But I do want you to be comfortable enough with the song that you have sung yourself through the emotion, not out of the emotion. I don't want you to miss the point of the song, and I don't want it to be flippant to you or callous or you have no feelings at this point. But it can't be that the emotions are so close to the surface that they're about to spill over at any moment in time. The answer to that is practice and some self-control. Again, I want you to be in touch with that, but I don't want it to be spilling over. The minute you start displaying all of your emotion, then everybody who's in your audience starts becoming aware of you and what you're feeling, instead of being in touch with themselves and what they're feeling. And in reality, that's really what we want. As performers, we want them to experience something special, experience something powerful that they're not going to forget when they walk out of there, that will stick with them. Especially when it comes to leading worship, if you are the worship leader, you kind of don't really have the option. Sometimes I've heard my friend Paul Balash joke about the fact that we're like waiters in a restaurant, in a sense, because we're serving, and it's not always our time to sit down and eat. But when you're a background vocalist, I think you have a little bit more freedom. And I think when you're in the background and you're not the one that's primarily responsible for leading everyone in worship, you're just still a follower in a sense, even though you're leading, you might have a little bit more opportunity to express those genuine emotions that you have. It's important to stay current with your relationship with God so that those emotions don't just overwhelm you like, whoa, this is the first time you thought about what he means to you all week. If you're in a constant state of worshiping him and being in touch with that, I think that you'll be able to control those things a little bit more. All right, thanks again, Mark, for your question, and I hope that you will continue to flood me with questions so that I can answer them here and visit you this way. Thanks again. Come visit me at sherigould.com for your next visual vocal tip.